In this video, I'm going to be sharing 4 creative ways you can transform your home decor, creating amazing DIYs using napkins. And for this first project, we're going to be using this beautiful gem to create a riser with one of Dollar Tree's large glass plates. Now, this is going to be a little tricky because I just have one napkin of this design. It's fine, I know. We're gonna make it work, okay? And I'm gonna show you some tips and tricks, so if you run into this problem as well, you can make it work at home too. We're gonna start off by removing the back of those sneaky layers from the top layer. We're gonna need just the top layer to decoupage onto our plates. Then pick your medium. I've been in love with this stuff recently. I get it from Amazon for anyone interested. And for application purposes, I'm gonna be using my good old TDS artist brushes in the fan style. These are items that work for me. Feel free to use whatever works best for you. We're going to take a little bit of water on a smaller paintbrush and just trim down our napkin. Now, Dollar Tree also has the smaller glass plates, which if I had one of those, it would have fit perfectly in the size of this napkin. So do keep that in mind. A lot of this project is just sharing the idea of how you can use one napkin for a larger piece and break it down. So at home, if you just happen to find that one gem or run across that one beautiful napkin or purchase that one beautiful napkin and that's all you got, people, I got your back. This is going to help you be able to utilize every section of that. Since we're not going to have enough of this napkin to do the entire back of our plate, we're going to just frame the edge. This medium dries fairly quick, but it's not stressing me out enough that I don't have the ability to do a decent section. So I am taking a little bit of that medium. I am not over polying it because glass is not porous. It's not going to absorb. It's going to sit right on the top there. So I'm running into there possibly being a problem for creating a ton of wrinkles. So make sure your medium is minimal. Now, one of my tips and tricks that I love to use is a dry kitchen sponge. This is not wet, my friends. You don't have to ask in the comments. It is dry. It's just a kitchen sponge I pick up from Walmart. I cut it in half. You simply place the napkin exactly where you want and then just press the sponge down into place. It's absorbing that excess medium as well and catching it in the sponge. And I get asked this all the time. Brandy, what do you do with the sponge when it's all hard and stiff? Well, focus, people. We're talking about crafting in a sponge. Okay, anyhow, when it gets like this, I just chop it up with a pair of scissors into different sections, put it to the side, and use it for painting. I like to save every penny that I can, and this helps me have more things to get crafty with. I was able to utilize 2 large sections of the napkin, so I only had to really piece together one small area. You will notice that I'm being very purposeful where I'm putting the fan brush. That's another reason I love these things, because they're super thin at the tip. So if you got to get in real close and precise in a section, it allows you to do just that. So around where the center is, I was able to create a pretty straight line all the way around this clear glass plate. And the napkin is only sticking to the sections where I applied the medium. I set this off to dry for about 3 hours because our next step is going to require us to put a layer of medium all over the area that we applied the napkin to. I want to paint the complete back of this plate, and in order to do that and not worry about the paint seeping through the napkin, this is going to give us a protective sealant over top the decoupage part. One of the reasons I love this medium is because it's also indoor-outdoor use. So me being able to do this next part saves me a lot of grief. I am just taking my water bottle and spritzing the whole top area of that napkin where it is not attached and using my finger to pull off the excess. This is going to give me a really nice clean line around the entire piece, so I don't have a bunch of frayed bits of that napkin. When I was all done, I just grabbed a paper towel and went around drying everything before I applied my layer of paint. An amazing tip to keep in mind whenever you're painting over something that is decoupage and attached to glass is to make sure that that paint is glass friendly. You will have a much better cohesive bond with everything. So please keep that in mind. I know that this stuff works really well, and a lot of people ask me where I get it from. I get it from Walmart. You can also order it off of Amazon, but my local Walmart still carry this paint. I know so many of you say that yours don't anymore, and I'm sorry about that. Now there's going to be mixed opinions on this part, and I'm completely okay with that. I'm going to take this round wood piece and glue it to the back of the plates because we're going to put some feet on here for our riser. And I'm just going to be using these little joints. They're from Dollar Tree. They're actually the little snowmen. I hold them all year long because they make perfect riser feet. I'm going to be using some tacky glue. Now in the event that you're asking yourself, Brandy, why are you doing all this? I just feel like this sticks better to glass than me just popping some little riser feet on the glass that's on paints. Just kind of makes everything a little bit sturdier. So I'm just going to glue this down with some tacky glue, allow this to dry overnight, and then we're going to put a coat of paint over top everything so it matches. Once your piece is all dry, you're welcome to put a sealer on the bottom of this and cover everything to protect it if you would like. Now, how do I get the napkin off around the edge? I just squirt it with some water and then pluck it all off. I love this idea because it allows us to take something we usually just display in our home and put to a practical use. And since we didn't put any sealers or decoupage or paint or anything like that on the top part, it is really easy to clean that glass off and use all year long. I was sent this awesome wood coaster set from my good friend Tracy's Crafty Creations. We're going to be decoupaging this using just one napkin. Now for anyone interested, I did want to share that this set came from Hobby Lobby. And to start off, we're going to be using some dishwasher safe Mod Podge. Now people, I'm telling on myself right here, but take note to how many coasters you see me putting out and then how many I finished with, okay? I'm nothing around here if not transparent. We're going to take some of this dishwasher safe Mod Podge and put a nice thick juicy layer on all of our coasters and allow this to dry for anywhere between 3 and 4 hours. Now depending on how thick your coat is, you might have to wait a little bit longer, and I know some of y'all have no patience and want to bust out that heat gun, but I really feel like the overall application and the finished product just turns out better if you let it happen naturally. Now let me tell y'all what happened, because I know you see me just putting the 5 coasters on this napkin. So I didn't realize until I put these all in here that there was a gap. And I remember when I took these out that there wasn't a gap. And as these were drying, I set them all in front of me right here. Or so I thought. I mean, as crafters do, we kind of put stuff places and somehow it ends up over there and we completely forget it even exists. And that's what happened. And for anyone thinking that the coasters, I could have just added it in right there, they were already finished. I had them turned around so you couldn't see. Now I'm showing you this because these are my favorite napkin brands currently for anyone interested in what of all the napkin brands I've used, this Michael Designs, they're my absolute favorite for now. Okay. And before I get spammed in the comments, like where did I get the napkins and this and that, most of these are sent to me from subscribers. I don't know where they came from. Once I removed the sneaky layers from the napkin, it was time to bring on in our iron. Now you can use any iron for this. I just keep this little joint next to my craft station and I turn it all the way up. While that's cooling off, I grabbed a piece of parchment paper, not wax paper, parchment paper. And I get asked often, doesn't matter shiny side, downside. People, I iron with whatever side. I don't discriminate on shiny or matte. Like we just place it on there and pray it all works out. It usually does. I haven't did this a time where I felt, oh, I should have used the shiny side. It usually just, it it works. A good tip to remember if you're doing multiple items underneath one napkin is to start that iron-on method with the sections where the pieces are attaching to one another, so you get that melted bond going on underneath of there, and then go back and do your individual iron section. I took about a minute ironing each piece individually, and then I took my scissors and just cut everything down that wasn't attached and gingerly pulled the rest of the sections off. Then it was time to bring on in the finger sander and give these a nice little sanding. A good tip whenever you're sanding decoupage is instead of going side to side, go up and down. This will give you a nice clean break. In the event if something didn't attach on the ends, you don't have to worry about any bunching or fraying. If you wanted to paint these, you could absolutely do that, but I feel like certain napkins just look amazing on natural wood. These turned out so good. We're going to just take some of this and apply a nice thin layer. This stuff is indoor outdoor and it's non-toxic, and I really love how it is not sticky, or you can see like an overlay of it once it's completely dry. And in case anyone's wondering what that looks like, this is the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, and you can usually see that shine and some streaks. But I do love that stuff as well, so keep that in mind. I don't really have a favorite over these two so far. They're working out for me. It just depends on what finish I'm going for, and that's what one I go with. In Dollar Tree's Crafter Squares section, they have these awesome wood planks that are perfect for tabletop decor. We're going to use this beautiful napkin as the main focal point for this piece. We're going to get started by applying a nice coat of this chalk paint to everything. I often get asked, Brandy, why are you spraying water on your pieces? There's a couple reasons, but one of the largest reasons behind it is it helps to move the product around and it helps me use less product. I'm always looking for ways to pinch pennies and be budget friendly with things. And I've noticed that spraying water just a little bit, especially with chalk paint, it really helps make things last and go a little bit further. This is one of Dollar Tree's little glass candle holders. We're going to be using that as our base. Next up, we need to get rid of those sneaky layers on the back of our napkin. So I'm just tearing a corner. This is the easiest way for me to do it. You guys go about this whatever works best for you. We're going to need just the top decorative layer. We're going to be doing the iron-on method. We're going to be using this folk art indoor outdoor medium. And with this stuff, it's not as thick as Mod Podge, so whenever I do the iron-on method, luckily this dries quickly because we need about 3 layers for good coverage to be able to do the iron-on method. I've tried using this stuff and just doing one, and it does not work as well. Now that our piece is all dry, it is time to bring on in the iron. Feel free to use whatever iron you would like for this. I keep this little sucker right next to me by my craft station, and I like to turn mine all the way up. Grab yourself a piece of parchment paper and then place your napkin down exactly where you want to iron it. Put the parchment paper right over top of that, and I like to work my iron from one edge to the other instead of starting in the center and then working my way out. This just works best for me. Use whatever technique works best for you. I would definitely spend a minute or more ironing on your piece, and that really also depends on the size. But before I move on, I always check around the edges to make sure everything is sealed properly to the edge. Then it's always time to bring on in the little sander. Well, maybe not always time, but the majority of the time we bring on in the little finger sander and do downward strokes to separate our napkin. This will help decrease the opportunity for bunching at the ends instead of sanding side to side. Next up, we're going to bring in some TDS dry rub on transfers and cut out a little section of this script part to cover in where we had to leave an empty space with our napkin so we didn't have that double print in there. Since our napkin already had some script in there, I felt this would be a perfect overlay to really blend on in. Now, people beware, I did not seal over this. You should, okay? You should. My skill set, I got faith in my decoupage and my transfers here. So I knew that this was going to be fine. But if you want to make sure yours is going to be fine, pop a layer of sealer over anything you decoupage before you put a transfer on it, just to be safe. I put a layer of sealer over this after everything was done. Absolutely love how this came together. Popped a little bit of moss in there since we had some birds. Let me know how you think this one turned out. We're going to be transforming these napkins into some roses. Pick out whatever napkins you would like and then grab a couple little green leaves from your stash. I know you got some. In the background, I'm always looking for new ways to utilize napkins because I love them so much. I mean, I'll decoupage everything until I can't no more, but come on, we need different ideas. So for this one, and I've watched a ton of videos and I've tried different ways, this is my favorite so far. I'm going to continue probably putting spins on this. Take whatever napkin you choose and fold over the top edge till you got about a knuckles worth. And again, size is kind of up to you. Then just start rolling your napkin over, keeping it as flat as you can. And I've seen people make like little leaves and stuff out of the napkin, all kinds of, like I said, I've been keeping my eye out for paper crafts. Okay, it's not my forte, okay, but I'm getting there. I got some ideas. Here's one. And then you're going to just start spinning at the base. Okay, now what I don't like about this is it doesn't get skinny as it goes down. It stays kind of thick. So I decide at the end of the day that I cut back some of it, but I also like to pinch the center of the rose and kind of spin it the opposite way. So this way it kind of just fluffs everything out and makes that center look a little bit more realistic. Once I cut like a whole corner off of that napkin at the bottom, it gets a little bit skinnier, and then I grab some twine. You could use so many different things to create your stem, even if you have like that green sticky floral tape. I've tried metal wire with this too. It depends on how I'm interlapping it. I've like wrapped the twine around the middle. I've been been in the background crafting without you guys. I'm sorry. I take the twine and wrap it around the base of our bulb piece here and make it kind of heavy. So this way it's thicker at the top and it also kind of supports the head of the rose, and then continue to wrap the piece down. And when I get to the area that I'm happy with, I take our little green leaf and I glue it on here. I took a minute making sure that I weaved in the little base of that leaf into our stem, glued the edge, and literally in under 5 minutes. How cute are these? If you're looking for more ways to use napkins, check out this video right here. And as always, people, thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. And until next time.